Chapter 881. Self-taught. The first boss of their 20-player dungeon dropped 3 pieces of equipment, all either blue or purple. This was something even Happy didn't care about, let alone Tiny Herb. Even so, everyone still divided up the equipment with the method that they had agreed on, by necessity of classes. Then they found out that Lord Grimm had a right to all 3, rolling the dice for each. Wang Jiaxi had expected this sort of shamelessness from Yi Chu, but his demands weren't completely unreasonable. Theoretically, unspecialized characters did need equipment from all classes, but there was no way Wang Jiaxi would just allow that sort of behavior. If it were all blue and purple, then he wouldn't mind, but orange equipment was useful for pro teams too. Lord Grimm's need for all-class equipment was just too much of a competitive advantage for him. Then what do you propose? Yi Shu asked helplessly. Choose one class. Wang Jiaxi was always someone with ideas. Have you no shame? I'm a class that needs equipment across all the classes and now you're as cruel as to ask me to give up on 23 of them, Yi Shu retorted. It's only fair. Otherwise you're too much of a bug, Wang Jiaxi replied. No way can I accept that, Yi Shu declared. Just one class, at most 2, Wang Jiaxi made a small compromise. Just tell me what your limit is. Yi Shu expressed that he refused to bargain with Wang Jiaxi over this any longer. That is my limit, Wang Jiaxi responded. 4 class types, Yi Shu suggested. Not possible, Wang Jiaxi rejected decisively. 4 class types was 16 out of the 24 classes. As the 2 gods argued, the members of the teams exchanged helpless glances. 2 gods at the peak of glory argue over dungeon drops. This might have a chance at becoming the headlines of esports home if they knew what was happening. Fine. In the end, it was Yi Shu who made the biggest compromise. But at least 3 classes. Going from wanting all 24 classes to 3 was a huge compromise. Wang Jiaxi didn't fixate on his 2-class limit and also compromised, agreeing. The Tiny Herb members all believed that their captain had won this debate, cheering. Which 3 classes do you want? Wang Jiaxi didn't hesitate to make the negotiations completely clear. Battle Mage, Ghostblade, and Cleric. Yi Shu didn't hesitate either, giving an answer that was obviously planned ahead for. Wang Jiaxi paused for a moment, but understood Yi Shu's reasoning after looking over the class lineups for each of their teams. Tiny Herb and Happy had 3 overlapping classes, which were none other than Yi Shu's requested Battle Mage, Ghostblade, and Cleric. That meant, the equipment they would come into competition over would all be for these 3 classes. Now that Yi Shu had set his Lord Grimm to these 3 classes as well, he had increased the chances of Happy's victory in the competition over those specific pieces of equipment. It was too late for Wang Jiaxi to regret his decisions by now. With the negotiations over, Yi Shu then pulled up the DPS chart to comment. Tiny Herb's members did very well. Everyone has to look towards them as examples. Yi Shu sent the DPS charts into the chat. The highest ranked was Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria, and after that was a column of Tiny Herb members. With more refined teamwork and synchronization, Tiny Herb's DPS was miles ahead of Happy in the boss fight. Apart from the 2 clerics, the worst DPS was Deception. This time, he hadn't even done any better than Chen Guo's Chasing Haze or Luo Ji's Concealed Light and had been left in the dust. For one, he had frozen for a long time in the middle of the match. Afterwards, he had only occasionally jumped in to grab openings. He hadn't gone with the flow and his attacks weren't continuous. It would be weird if his DPS was high. A certain someone needs to work really hard, Yi Shu lamented aloud. Mo Fan's emotions were tumultuous. After setting his resolve to improve his DPS again and again, only to do continuously worse, even worse than Chasing Haze and Concealed Light, Mo Fan was unable to raise his head. However, Tiny Herb's members were much more professional than normal players. They didn't mock and disdain someone with such a terrible DPS, and continued on without any comments. Their attitude didn't cheer Mo Fan up at all. The reason no one commented was because no one cared. Mo Fan might like being on his own, but he didn't enjoy being ignored like this. I already know what to do, I'll show all of you when we get to the second boss. Mo Fan's thoughts were so, but they were too naive. For the second boss, Mo Fan's Deception continued to jump in and out to deal damage, using the same method he was familiar with and thought to be right. Without fighting as a part of the team, what achievements could he obtain? After the second boss had been taken down, he was still the last on the DPS charts, worse than chasing haze and concealed light. How is this still possible? The silent Mo fan couldn't help but yell. What a clueless guy, Tiny Herb's members thought to themselves. With your method, having such a low DPS was only expected. With such results, Mo fan naturally realized that the way he had been playing was still incorrect. He still didn't actively seek help, stopping to observe during the third boss. Everyone ignored him again. Tiny Herb continued their perfect DPS while Yishu continued to give everyone a role. A perfect symphony, just waiting for Mo fan to become an appropriate tune to harmonize with them, instead of jumping in with a bang and running straight back out. Deception didn't act at all during the third boss fight, reducing his DPS to a 0, ranking him at the very bottom of the list, even lower than the clerics. When clerics were bored, they might throw out a damaging skill, putting them above Deception. No one knew if this guy had made any discoveries. They had finally progressed to boss number 4. With the powerful Team Tiny Herb as their allies, their progress was even smoother than it had been in the easier 10-player dungeons. From the DPS charts, it was evident that Tiny Herb was the group holding down the fort, far above Happy in both healing and DPS. Happy's members didn't really care too much about how fast they were progressing anymore, having guessed Yishu's motive and were waiting to see when Mo fan would be fully enlightened. The fourth boss fight started. This time, Deception didn't just spectate, standing with Happy's attack team from the start. Yishu began to lead and Happy's battle system grinded into action. Mo fan also quickly found the place left open for Deception and finally didn't desynchronize. He was in the middle, working with the system. Yishu was elated. Mo fan might have some problems with the way he was cooperating, but at least he finally understood what they were trying to do now. Should he speak up to bring him under command? Yishu was hesitant. In truth, when he and Mo fan first met, they had fought side by side. Back then, Yishu had taken command and their teamwork wasn't bad at all. However, it was different today. When the two first met, they had no bones to pick. And now, Mo fan had only come to Happy after having been harried to the point where he couldn't even play the game properly anymore. There was bad blood between them now. That was why Yishu didn't order this guy around. He could guess that if he said east, that guy would probably go west on purpose, so Yishu had decided to silently guide him from afar, hoping that Mo fan would become interested of his own violation, and figure out where his problems lay, adjusting these areas accordingly. Now, Mo fan had finally taken a huge step. If he could accept being ordered around by Yishu, then everything would be that much easier. However, Yishu was afraid that if he spoke, it would only have the opposite effect. So, he decided to keep using the same method, not saying a word, and just creating openings for Mo fan to take by himself, learn by himself. Everyone watched his performance and knew that he was working hard, struggling through figuring out what he should do without any pointers. The Tiny Herb members who didn't understand the situation started to become a little sympathetic towards Mo fan, inwardly thinking that God Yichu was too cruel. He didn't give him any guidance at all. There had to be a limit to how strict you were, right? The fight with the fourth boss was like fighting through disaster for Mo fan. When the fourth boss fell, he felt like a mess. His mind was on the verge of blanking, forgetting everything he had done. He only had one feeling: he was chasing after a speeding train, wanting to crawl onto it, but was always getting thrown off. How pitiful he had been was easy to imagine. When the results for the fourth boss came out, Mo fan's score was still bad, still last. However, while he might have not improved in rankings, but everyone could see his improvement in data. Fighting to follow the rhythm, his DPS had a great improvement compared to before, when he only darted in for a single blow when an opening revealed itself. Tiny Herb's members were on the precipice of giving him a round of applause, yet all Yishu said was, "Keep it up, everyone." There were also 5 bosses in 20-player dungeons. The two teams cooperated, taking the first kills as they went, and finally arrived at the last section. By then, everyone had forgotten their original intentions, and focused on Mo fan's deception instead. After opening fire on the last boss, the members of Tiny Herb kept throwing glances at Happy's side every now and then. Deception was stubbornly trying to synchronize with the pace of the team. For him, who had never been taught or tried to learn such a thing, it was a tough job. The other members of Happy had, in fact, practiced cooperation in their daily trainings. They couldn't compare to Tiny Herb, but they weren't some rogues either. Mo Fan had set an impossible task for himself, learning to run before he learned how to walk asterisk, and he was figuring it out himself, too. Yet, everyone could tell Deception had definitely improved since the last boss. This guy, he had taught himself. Chapter 882. 20-player dungeon rewards. The final boss was more powerful than the previous 4 bosses, but facing these formidable players, it wasn't anything to look at. Everyone was paying more attention to Deception's transformation than the boss. In the end, the boss was mowed down. Boss first kill, dungeon first clear, both system announcements were released. It was the 5th and 6th time these eye-catching names were displayed to the world. The players were all looking at each other cluelessly. Yi Chu, Wang Jiaxi. If those 2 people were truly the ones playing on those characters, this first clear record was just too beautiful. Who were these 2? Since the start of the Glory Pro League to now, of the 8 championships, these 2 had won a combined total of 5 of them. And now, these 2 had actually teamed up together to clear a dungeon. This first clear record felt like a historic moment for them. All of the players witnessing these names listed out felt like they were a part of this history. But the players creating history didn't think much of the record. After the boss fell, they checked the DPS charts immediately. Deception was currently the star of the show. Everyone's eyes were on him. In terms of placing, Deception was still at the back of the pack, but in comparison to the previous boss, his DPS had clearly improved. The self-taught genius Mo Fan was improving at lightning speed. Mo Fan wasn't in a hurry to chase after a higher ranking. When he checked the DPS charts, he felt very pleased at the improvement. He wanted to hurry up and start another dungeon, so he could continue to practice, but these guys were now dilly-dallying, receiving the first kill and first clear rewards. Mo Fan was feeling impatient. First kill and first clear rewards. These were what the 2 sides valued the most. Let's confirm the distribution plan again. Wang Jiaxi's attitude seemed as if he were playing fighting Yi Chu in a match. Distribution will be according to each other's needs, Yi Chu said. Materials will be split 50-50, Wang Jiaxi added. Unspecialized needs everything, Yi Chu said. Quote. I'm just joking. I only need Battle Mage, Ghostblade, and Cleric class equipment, Yi Chu said. You've promised, Wang Jiaxi said. Why do I feel that you don't trust me? Yi Chu asked. Because I'm used to treating you as an opponent and not a teammate, Wang Jiaxi said. Afterwards, the first kill and first clear rewards were received. The amount of rewards given for a 20-player dungeon would certainly be more numerous than that of a 10-player dungeon. Before, the rewards had to be split between 10 players, but with 20 players, 10 more players needed to be accounted for. The first boss first kill gave them 2 pieces of orange equipment. Everyone hastily checked the stats to see which class it was most suited for. We neglected one point, Wang Jiaxi suddenly spoke up. If none of us need the equipment, is everyone going to roll or just one representative from each team? Wang Jiaxi said. Or maybe we just give it to the unspecialized who needs everything, Yi Chu said. Let's just have representatives from both sides roll for it. Wang Jiaxi completely ignored Yi Chu. Instead of picking someone from Tiny Herb to roll, he just took it on himself and rolled. A beautiful 99. Fine, then let's start rolling. Who's going to go on your side? Yi Chu returned the favor by ignoring Wang Jiaxi. Tiny Herb's side booed. Yi Chu could even hear some boos from Happy's side. I've already rolled a 99, Wang Jiaxi said. You're forcing us to roll a 100, Yi Chu said. Go ahead, Wang Jiaxi said. I'll show you the might of our boss, Yi Chu said and indicated for Chen Guo to step forward. Chen Guo trembled with fear. Oftentimes, she couldn't change her fan mentality. When she saw that her opponent was God Wang Jiaxi, she couldn't help but panic. Chasing Haze rolled a 42. A crushing defeat. Baccaria took one of the 2 pieces of orange equipment. Loser first, Yi Chu shouted. Chen Guo stared blankly. It means you roll first, Yi Chu could only explain. As a result, Chasing Haze rolled again. Her roll was even more tragic than her previous one. 25. There was only a 25% chance of her winning. Chen Guo wanted to cry, I don't want to roll anymore. Someone else. Don't panic. There are 2 types of victories. One where you're better and the other where your opponent is worse. See Yi Shu wasn't even able to complete his sentence. Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria had already rolled. It wasn't too high, a 61, but it was enough to bully a 25. This isn't scientific, Yi Shu stirred, you're cheating. Boo. You're a god. Bickering over a roll is too shameful. Team Tiny Herb took both pieces of orange equipment. However, the two items that needed to be rolled for by both sides were equipment that neither of them needed. For the second's boss, there were two more pieces of orange equipment. This time, they didn't need to be rolled. One was suitable for Blade Masters, so Tiny Herb's Liu Xiaobi took it for his flying sword. The other was suitable for brawlers. Happy's side took it for Steamed Bun Invasion. The difference was that on Happy's side, Steamed Bun Invasion directly took it, while Captain Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria took it for his team. For the third boss, a battle arose for a piece of cleric equipment. I'll go. This time, Wang Jiaxi wasn't fast enough. Their team's cleric, Yuan Boking, went out to battle. His character Awado * rolled 82. A high chance of victory. Haha, Yuan Boking's laugh carried a hint of provocation. Little hands, you're up, Yi Shu called. And when Yi's little cold hands rolled a 75. Loss. Tisk, the pressure's on. On Happy's side, Yi Shu's Lord Grim also had an opportunity to roll, so he clicked his tongue. Hurry up, Yuan Boking said. Go die, Yi Shu shouted. Lord Grim rolled 83. Ha 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 ha, this is what you call real skill, Yi Shu laughed. Yuan Boking was furious. He wasn't angry about losing an orange equipment, but losing to Yi Shu was irritating, especially since it was only by 1 point. Nothing could be more infuriating. Little Colds, you take it. A healer's cloak was handed to Little Cold Hands. The other piece of equipment wasn't needed by either side. Let's go, Yi Shu said and rolled this time. An invincible 100. Who's the best? Yi Shu asked and dropped it into his inventory. How do you know that none of us can roll a 100? Yuan Boking shouted. If a roll was a tie, it wasn't who went first wins or anything. It would be a re-roll. Then you roll, Yi Shu said to Yuan Boking. Yuan Boking didn't move. A 99% chance of losing was truly too high. At this moment, God Wang Jiaxi was calm. He rolled a mediocre 51 and ignored it. The fourth boss didn't need to be rolled for. There were 6 materials because they didn't know the usage of these materials. There was no point discussing who needed what. As a result, each side randomly grabbed 3 materials. For the final boss, each side had equipment that was needed. Tiny Herb's Knight, Angelica, took 1. The other was launcher equipment. Happy had 2 launchers, so they obviously took it. The distribution for the first kill rewards for the 5 bosses were now complete. There were no weapons. Chen Guo expressed her disappointment. Then, the most important part came, the first clear rewards. Receive 4 pieces of orange equipment. 10 materials. Sure enough, the first clear rewards were worth 3 times as much as first kill rewards. The materials were easy to split. Each side randomly took 5. When everyone checked the stats for the equipment, everyone was stunned. Among the 4 pieces of equipment, 2 were suitable for ninjas. There was even a weapon. Ninja Kukri. Level 75 Ninjutsu. Weight, 2.3 kilograms. Durability, 23. Attack speed, 8. Physical attack, 769. Magic attack, 767. Strength plus 3/6. Intelligence plus 3/6. Back attack plus 30%. Seal ninjutsu critical strike chance plus 12%. Attack speed plus 2. Underground tunneling technique level plus 2. When an attack strikes, there is a 5% chance of inducing a dizzy to the target lasting 4 seconds. There weren't any abnormal stats. It was a steady improvement over a level 75 orange weapon. Apart from this ninjutsu, there was also a cloth belt. The 2 pieces of equipment were given to Deception without contest. Everyone was thinking that perhaps the system had taken pity on this guy, so it gave him 2 pieces of equipment. Apart from these 2 pieces of equipment, it was another roll war. In the end, each side won once and each took 1. Now, the 20-player dungeon, Rebel Army Vanguard Camp was completed. From a rewards perspective, to only see 1 weapon out of all the first kill and first clear rewards was quite unsatisfactory. There wasn't just one 20-player dungeon. In the end, Yishu asked if everyone wanted to continue. Mo Fan definitely wanted to, but he quietly waited. As for the others, everyone was a bit tired after staying up all night, but when they thought about all of the first kill rewards that were waiting, if they slept, the rewards would mostly be gone by the time they woke up. The pro players were active right now. When Happy and Tiny Herb took down the 20-player dungeon first clear, Tyrannical Ambition had snatched the final 10-player dungeon. The 5-player dungeon first clears were being competed for by the various club guilds. All of the names on those records were undoubtedly pro characters. Let's keep going. Seeing that everyone was still full of spirit, Yishu spoke out. Oh, you guys aren't going to take a break after staying up all night, Wang Jiaxi said. You could tell we've been up all night, Yishu said. The record board is filled with your names, Wang Jiaxi said. As expected, it couldn't be hidden from you, Yishu sighed. Another round of boos. That wasn't anything hard. As expected? A sigh? Then, let's find another 20-player dungeon to run, Yishu said. This time, getting a first clear might be a lot more difficult, Wang Jiaxi said. Oh. Take a look at the chat group, Wang Jiaxi said. Yishu immediately checked the pro player chat group. Following his method of forming groups, there were all sorts of messages asking people to press 1 to join their group. From the chat record, several 20-player groups had already been formed. They were probably in the middle of dungeons at this point. Everyone here was a pro player. In-game challenges were a walk in the park for them, so the clear speed between them wouldn't be too far off. For a dungeon speed records, which were a race against time, might be more intense, but for first clears, they were off by several minutes, so there wasn't much room for competition. By the time they got to the entrance of the dungeon, the other side's first kill record would probably be announced. Chapter 883. First kill conclusion. It was rare for the pro player chat group to be so lively. Usually, during the season, at least half of the pro players every week weren't in a good enough mood because of their match outcomes, but right now, their conflicts were entirely in the game. For pro players, first kill and first clear records weren't anything too important. Their main purpose was to familiarize themselves with the new update, so apart from those in the chat group forming parties together, there were also many game-related discussions going on as well. If one didn't know these were Glory Pro players, the chat group appeared like a normal chat group. Have all of the 20-player dungeons been taken? Yishu charged out and asked. It seems like it, someone replied. Has anyone formed a 50-player group? Yishu called out. All of a sudden, countless people sent out blood-spurting emojis. You old man, you're beyond shameless. Do you want to run a 50-player dungeon? Afterwards, are you planning on running a 100-player dungeon? This time, his call didn't receive a reply. After all, a 50-player dungeon wasn't like a 20-player dungeon. For a 20-player dungeon, only 2 teams were needed to run it, but for a 50-player dungeon, 5 teams would need to coordinate. Which team wasn't busy right now? Don't look at how there were people constantly chatting in the chat group. That didn't mean they had nothing to do. It was just a dungeon, after all. For pro players, how hard could it be? Dungeoning while chatting in QQ was no different from releasing extra energy. 50-player dungeon. We're receiving early bookings. Anyone? Anyone? Yishu had guessed that no team was idle at the moment, so he left everyone some leeway. There was still no reply. Yishu was helpless. He returned to the game and saw that Team Tiny Herb was still there. No one wants to join, Yishu said in the game. You actually wanted to run a 50-player dungeon, Wang Jiaxi said. Yishu's noisiness hadn't only been seen by him. Quite a few Team Tiny Herb players in the chat group had seen it too. If we can, why not? But it looks like we won't be able to, Yishu said helplessly. If we find people from our guilds, beating the dungeon would be too difficult, Wang Jiaxi said. Yeah, Yishu agreed. For dungeons, the more players required, the harder it was, even more so with a 5-level suppression. The difference between pro players and normal players was day and night. Even with a god commanding them, normal players might not be able to keep up with the pace. Bringing them to challenge these dungeons right now was too unrealistic. It looks like you're not interested in running dungeons without any first kills, Wang Jiaxi said. Yeah, Yi Shu nodded his head. In reality, he didn't care so much about the record itself, but rather the rewards they would receive for the records. For a poor team like Happy, the update was an opportunity. Even for the pro team powerhouses, despite having an enormous advantage over Team Happy in terms of materials, upgrading silver equipment wasn't something that could be completed in a short amount of time. Gathering and studying these new materials from the update would require a non-trivial period of time. During this period of time, if Happy could obtain large amounts of level 75 orange equipment, in terms of equipment, they could greatly close the gap between themselves and the other pro teams. During this period of time, pro teams might continue using their level 70 silver equipment or use exceptional level 75 orange equipment. In terms of basic stats, everyone was on the same playing field. The only advantage level 70 silver equipment might have was that they fit the player better. Compared to Happy, who had level 75 orange equipment now, the disparity was minute. As a result, Yi Shu hoped to obtain as many level 75 orange equipment as possible because Happy wasn't like other pro teams with a powerful guild, even in comparison to those low mid-tier teams. So although the drop rate for orange equipment was very low, with such large guilds and the Fan Foundation, their ability to obtain orange equipment was far higher than Happy's. As for Happy, their guild had only just started. Wu Chen had brought with him Guild Everlasting, but Guild Everlasting had been in relegations for 2 years and had taken a blow for being under Happy's umbrella now. They were in a half-dead half-alive condition, so their strength was very weak at the moment. Under these conditions, Yi Shu couldn't avoid being petty and intentionally aimed for those first kill rewards because Happy didn't have the qualifications to be as imposing as those pro teams. By relying on these first kill rewards, the profits from their hard work weren't small. In the entire glory, they undoubtedly had the most level 75 orange equipment at the moment. However, there was still quite some distance before they could fully equip the entire team. It also seemed like their stable method of obtaining orange equipment through first kill rewards no longer existed. Yi Shu couldn't help but feel rather sorry. Wang Jiexi was a team captain. He thought about issues the same way that Yi Shu did. With Happy's situation, it wasn't hard to guess Yi Shu's thoughts. He smiled at this moment. How about we swap pointers? We can do add stakes to it. Ha ha ha, Yi Shu gave a hollow laugh. Lord Grimm turned to Happy's members, disband. Sleep. What? You're scared? Team Tiny Herb's Yuan Boking might be a cleric, but his personality was quite hot-blooded. He shouted out provocatively. We're not scared, Yi Shu smiled. I just feel like if it comes to facing you guys, just me is enough. There's no need to trouble everyone. That's true, Wang Jiexi laughed. After saying that, Baccaria turned to say to everyone, disband. Just me alone is also enough. Ha ha ha, everyone in Tiny Herb laughed. Yuan Boking added, we won't fight, but we won't disperse either. Staying here to watch is fine, right? Yuan Boking, how arrogant. I've put up with you long enough. Do you dare to 1v1 me? Yi Shu picked out his name. F*CK, you're picking a fight with a healer? So you can even do that, Yuan Boking shouted. I'll permit you to pick any class you'd like, Yi Shu said. Why don't you go to the side to cool off, Yuan Boking said. As a pro player, he could play other classes too, perhaps even better than most normal players, but facing another pro player, switching to a class that he didn't main was looking for death. To be more fair, I won't use my main, an unspecialized. I'll pick another class too, like let's say a battle mage? There's no room for argument there, right? Yi Shu said. UF*CKER, apart from cursing, Yuan Boking indeed couldn't refute. Haha, if don't dare, that's fine with me, Yi Shu said. Yuan Boking wanted to cry. What could he say? If he said he dared to, wasn't that looking for death? If he said he didn't dare to, that mother *CKER, it had nothing to do with whether he dared to or not. How did the subject get so twisted to such a point? Why not swap pointers with me? In the end, God Wang Jiexi was the most calm. He easily pulled the topic back. With you? I've fought against you who knows how many times. It's too boring. I'll go to sleep, Yi Shu said. More like you're scared, Yuan Boking jumped out to call out, but then he stared blankly. F*CK, instant retreat, Tiny Herb's Lu Xiaobi said stupidly. Right after Yi Shu finished his sentence, Lord Grimm immediately disappeared. He decisively logged off without any hesitation. The others on Happy hadn't even dispersed yet. Sleep. Yi Shu stretched. He stood up and moved around a bit. Everyone in the room was looking at him as if they couldn't look at him straight. In the end, it was Mo Fan, the person who spoke the least, that glared at Yi Shu with a face full of disdain, despicable, shameless. Yi Shu glanced at him and replied with 3 words, says the leecher. Mo Fan's face instantly turned blue and black. He really wanted to retort, but he had no choice but accept it. In the dungeon, his DPS had truly been a mess. Everyone, don't sleep too late, Yi Shu called out to everyone. Sigh, there are no more records to get. What a pity, Chen Guo sighed. Our harvest today was already quite good, Yi Shu said. That's true, Chen Guo nodded her head. If she weren't with this group, she would never have imagined such earnings. Not long ago, she was just a normal glory player, but now she had a bunch of records under her name and had fought together with the best pro players. For an ordinary player, this type of experience could only be dreamt about. Chen Guo sat at her seat and stared in a daze up until Tang Ru was about to leave and called out to her, "You're still not going to sleep?" "Oh, I'm going." Chen Guo immediately got up too. "Little Tang, our team is amazing," Chen Guo suddenly said. Tang Ru was surprised. She then smiled, "It'll be even more amazing later." "Yes, it definitely will be," Chen Guo smiled. She went back to her room with Tang Ru, but she didn't sleep for very long, when her phone rang, waking her up. Chen Guo checked her phone. It was eSport Home's reporter, Chong Xian. She immediately picked it up. "Little Chong, what's up?" Chen Guo asked. "Hi sis Chen." Chong Xian greeted Chen Guo. Even though Team Happy wasn't able to occupy the cover page of the papers after eliminating Team Everlasting in the second round, Chong Xian still maintained a good relationship with Happy. He had never slept over here, but he would always drop by Happy Internet Cafe every few days, getting familiar with the cashiers and employees at Happy Internet Cafe. When he saw Chen Guo, he would chat with her. He talked about this and that. It wasn't just limited to work. He was clearly trying to become friends as a way to establish a relationship with them. Over time, Chen Guo got used to his behavior. When he ran by the internet cafe or chatted with her online, it would never be for anything too serious. When he had business to talk about, he would always contact her by phone first. As a result, when Chen Guo saw it was Chong Xian calling her, she knew that it wouldn't just be small talk. "It's like this, sis Chen. Do you remember what day it is today?" Chong Xian asked. Chapter 884. Return Day. What day is it today? Though Chen Guo was half asleep, this question wasn't difficult for her to answer. If it was Chong Xian asking, then it must be related to Glory. For Glory, what day was it today? The update officially goes online, Chen Guo blurted out. What else? Chong Shang asked. The 11th server also opens, Chen Guo said. Yes, what else? Chong Xian asked again. What else? Chen Guo was at a loss. After thinking about it for a while, she wasn't able to come up with an answer. On this day last year, Yi Chu announced his retirement. In the end, Chong Xian told her the answer. Chen Guo was stunned. Indeed. Even though Yi Shu had arrived at Happy Internet Cafe a day earlier, Team Excellent Era had officially announced his retirement last year today. In other words, according to the Alliance's rules, if Yi Chu wished to return to the scene, he can now do so, Chong Xian said. Chen Guo understood. Chong Xian wanted first-hand knowledge of Yi Chu's return. How proactive. Chen Guo felt moved. In reality, she didn't have any information to give him. If she had wanted to report it, she would have taken the initiative to contact Chong Xian, but Yi Chu's return. Chen Guo wasn't really sure what he had in mind. Did he plan on announcing his return now that his retirement period had ended? Chen Guo got distracted while holding up her phone. For a moment, she forgot to say anything. On the other side, Chong Xian unexpectedly maintained the silence and didn't urge her to say anything either. Chong Xian was a newbie, but he had a certain level of reporter's sense. In the previous interview, he had asked questions related to Yi Chu and Happy. Captain Yi Shu's reply had been recorded. That day, Yi Shu had said, "You could say he's here. You could also say he's not." Facing this mysterious reply, Chong Xian pursued it further. The other side had replied with a, "You'll know when the time comes." When the times comes. Because of Chang Xian's lack of experience, his interview questions had been arranged poorly. At that time, it wouldn't have been proper to ask such a question, but after pondering over it, he felt like the time would come at a special moment. For example, Yi Chu's fulfilling his full year of retirement. From that day onwards, when Chang Xian checked the calendar, he would never forget Yi Chu's retirement period. Once the date reached today this year, it would mean Yi Chu could return to the pro scene. So when the day came, Chang Xian impatiently contacted Chen Guo, and this time, he didn't want to mess up because of his own inexperience. He stayed patient and calm. Up until now, he had only stated that Yi Chu could officially return. This method was undoubtedly much smarter. Even though he didn't raise a question, he had revealed the subject of their conversation. Now, he needed to see how Chen Guo would respond. Chang Xian patiently waited. Chen Guo wasn't aware that her mind had wandered off a while ago. After snapping back to reality, she felt like Chang Xian had just finished talking. She replied, "Right, he can return." Then, does he have any plans in store for his return? Chang Xian asked. In reality, he hadn't confirmed that Yi Chu really was unhappy, but by directly jumping to this question assuming that Yi Chu was inside happy, he would be killing two birds with one stone. "I'm not sure," Chen Guo said. "Oh. But Yi Chu will definitely be back," Chen Guo was certain. "Everyone is hoping that this day will come soon," Chang Xian said. "It will definitely come," Chen Guo said. These powerful and resonating words stunned Chang Xian. His intuition told him that Chen Guo didn't have a clear idea of what exactly Yi Chu planned to do. These seemingly certain confirmations sounded more like a fan's wishful thinking. "I don't know. If there's maybe a chance for me to interview him," finally, Chang Xian carefully requested. "I'll have to ask him before I can give you a reply," Chen Guo said. She didn't know, but her reply made Chang Xian wild with joy. He could finally confirm that Yi Chu was unhappy. As long as he followed happy closely, he didn't need to worry about not meeting this god. Chang Xian had forgotten though that his senior, Cao Guangcheng, had reported for Excellent Era for 8 years, yet had only been able to get an interview with Yi Chu on QQ once. "I hope I'll be able to get this opportunity." After hearing a definite reply, Chang Xian became more confident and patient. His heart was thumping loudly. He could already begin to imagine what type of questions he would ask when he saw Yi Chu. I'll contact you in a bit," Chen Guo said. "Okay. Then, I won't keep bothering you, Sis Chen," Chang Xian said. The two hung up. Chen Guo didn't hurry over to ask. At this moment, everyone in Happy was probably still sleeping. Chen Guo rolled over and continued making up for her lack of sleep. At the interview station, Chang Xian hung up the phone with a big smile on his face. Cao Guangcheng happened to see it. "What are you so excited about?" Cao Guangcheng asked with a smile. "Yi Chu," Chang Xian happily replied. "What about Yi Chu?" Hearing this name, Cao Guangcheng's heart twisted. His feelings were complicated. 8 years. As the reporter closest to Yi Chu, he could only get a QQ interview at best. It was a stain on his career as a reporter. Yi Chu is at Team Happy. Maybe I'll even get the chance to interview him, Chang Xian said excitedly. Haha, Cao Guangcheng smiled. Yi Chu was at Happy. That wasn't a secret, was it? Who didn't know that? As for getting an interview because you knew where Yi Chu was? Cao Guangcheng laughed at that logic. He really wanted to pull Chang Xian over and let him take a good look at him. Cao Guangcheng, a gold medal reporter in the Glory community, had known that Yi Chu was very very close to him, but an interview opportunity? Far far away. Young people. Cao Guangcheng sighed. He wasn't jealous of Chang Xian's opportunity. He patted Chang Xian's shoulder. "Keep up the good work." After saying these words, Cao Guangcheng returned to his room. Chang Xian wasn't aware of Cao Guangcheng's peculiar mood. He was still immersed in happiness at verifying Yi Chu's whereabouts. Following afterwards, he ran over to his computer to search up Yi Chu's past. He had begun actively doing research. Team Happy. When everyone got up, it was already late at night. They had stayed up all night and campaigned through higher-level dungeons non-stop, so they had been exhausted. After washing up, the 10 went to the practice room one after the other. They went to their respective seats and logged into the game. And at the same time, logging on to their QQ, checking their emails, going to websites they frequented. Everyone had their own habits. After logging into the game, everyone subconsciously went to check the Heavenly Domain dungeon records, the level 75 ones of course. The break wasn't over yet. All of the remaining 20-player first kills had been obtained. Apart from these records, even a few of the hidden boss first kills for 5-player dungeons had been taken. After all, 5-player dungeons could be run more times per day than 10-player dungeons. These teams would run them again and again. If they found a hidden boss, they obviously took care of it. When they checked the chat group, it was just as lively as it had been that morning. All sorts of discussions were happening. Some of these were related to records too. In the end, most of the first kill records were taken away by Happy. That guy Yi Chu didn't sleep last night. He and his group ran dungeons again and again and again. How could they not have taken them all? Is that guy really thinking of having his current team topple Excellent Era in the Challenger League and returning to the Alliance? Wasn't it said that there is no Yi Chu in Team Happy's registration list? It's the Challenger League. Members can often be switched and even added in during the later stages. Maybe he's waiting for the retirement period to end. Speaking of which, that's today, so he can return, right? It doesn't matter if he can come out of retirement or not. I don't think the Challenger League prohibits retired players from participating either way. But logically, the Challenger League is an official tournament, so shouldn't it be restricted? The problem is that he isn't restricted. It's been overlooked. It doesn't even matter if he announces his return. In any case, he's not going to join a team during the winter transfer period. He's definitely planning on charging through with that Team Happy. If Yi Chu returns and joins Tyranny. You're joking. How could Yi Chu go to Tyranny? I'm just saying what if. If Yi Chu joins Tyranny, Tyranny's main 5 players, tisk tisk. F***ck, don't talk nonsense. That'd be too scary. Ha ha ha, you're already trembling. That roster would seriously be terrifying, someone added. When everyone saw the name, everything went silent for a moment. Lord Grimm. Everyone knew that the person sitting behind Lord Grimm was Yi Chu. A god is lurking, someone joked. What level are you guys? Yi Chu asked a very normal question. We haven't leveled. We've been dungeoning all day. In terms of experience, it's worse than running level 70 dungeons, one person replied. Of course. It looks like you guys had better hand over your characters so they can level. I wonder how many stat points the new quest rewards give. We don't know about skill points either. The new cap is 5,500. Then in proportion, we should be able to get 400 points. F***ck, we finally get more skill points. The person speaking probably didn't have a high number of skill points on his account and felt sorry. Don't be happy too early. The new level 75 skills haven't appeared yet. That might make allocating skill points even more difficult. The conversation switched topic again to something more ordinary. More normal topics made the players, who were usually battling it out, more relaxed. It was a rare period of time for true friendship to bloom. At this moment, Chen Guo finally found Yi Chu. Right, today that little Chong called asking about you coming out of retirement. What are your plans? Chapter 885. Mental Burden. Yeah, I can come out of retirement. Time flew by so fast, Yi Chu's voice carried a trace of nostalgia. It had already been a year since he had departed from Excellent Era. But there's no need to announce my return right now. In any case, I won't be able to rejoin the pro scene this season. I would have to wait until next summer, Yi Chu said. True, Chen Guo nodded her head. It wasn't only the reporter, Chang Xian, who paid close attention to the end date of Yi Chu's retirement period. Besides Cao Guangcheng, who had completely lost hope in ever getting an interview with Yi Chu, all those with a bit of acuteness to Glory News were aware of the double specialness of this day. After all, Yi Chu was a legendary figure in Glory history. A year of retirement wasn't long enough for his fame to have fallen from an immortals to immortals. What's more, news of Yi Chu constantly popped up. Rumors of his return circulated for a long time. The fierce Team Happy in the Challenger League only redoubled Yi Chu's image. These were all reasons for why numerous people followed him closely. Unfortunately, everyone waited for today in vain. No news of Yi Chu coming out of retirement appeared in any channel. The rest was all just endless guesses and gossip. At Club Excellent Era, it was a nerve-wracking day. Yi Chu had formed his own team to push his way through the Challenger League. Of course they needed to be on guard against Yi Chu in every way possible. When Yi Chu announced his return, who knew what things he would say? As a result, Excellent Era had made the necessary PR preparations. The manager, Kui Lee, even called everyone on the team to gather specifically to address this issue. He indirectly reminded everyone that if an interviewer asked any related questions, they must not be careless. Kui Lee was talking about this issue solemnly when he heard a disdainful humph. Kui Lee looked over to see who it was and felt his head hurt. Su Mucheng. When Yi Chu was still here, no one would have ever thought that Su Mucheng would be a huge thorn in their side. In everyone's eyes, Su Mucheng had always followed Yi Chu around like a well-behaved child. She never said too much and never caused trouble. But now, while she still took her matches seriously, the previous Su Mucheng from before had completely disappeared. She didn't conceal her hatred and disgust towards Excellent Era. Sun Shang, Chen Yahui, Kui Li, and Dao Zhan had come across her refusals both tactfully and vehemently. That previously well-behaved girl seemed to have changed into a completely different person overnight. Truthfully, Kui Li had tolerated her for a long time now. He was becoming less and less polite with Su Mucheng because, at this point, Kui Li knew very well that after this season ended, Su Mucheng would certainly transfer and leave. In fact, early in the summer, Excellent Era had considered sending Su Mucheng away, but because of all sorts of reasons, it didn't end up going through. Now from the looks of it, once this season ended, they would lose her. Whenever Su Mucheng was mentioned, he would get all sorts of headaches. In this meeting, Su Mucheng once again expressed her disdain, making Kui Li even more nervous. Su Mucheng's relationship with Excellent Era had fallen apart long ago. Although she still took their matches seriously, that was required because of her professionalism as a pro player. As for everything else, she probably wouldn't side with Excellent Era. Would Su Mucheng comply with what Kui Li hoped for her to do? That cold humph was her reply, and facing a player of her status, the club was powerless to do anything to her. It wasn't like they could put her under house arrest. Vice-Captain Xiao Shiken noticed Kui Li's awkward situation, but he was helpless too. It had been half a year since he had joined Excellent Era. Through all sorts of channels, he had pretty much gotten the full picture on the conflict between Yi Chu and Excellent Era. Excellent Era's way of handling the matter was indeed unscrupulous, but Xiao Shiken could empathize a bit with the executives of Excellent Era. The other clubs seemed to be in harmony, but that didn't necessarily mean that their executives were particularly incredible. It might just be that their teams didn't have an individual like Yi Chu. Xiao Shiken didn't have too many thoughts of gossiping about the dispute towards Excellent Era and Yi Chu. He was more concerned about a much more terrifying reality. Excellent Era had forced Yi Chu out, but that hadn't stopped him. Yi Chu started anew from the new server, preparing step by step. He formed a team and joined the Challenger League. He had never given up for a single moment. On the contrary, Excellent Era had been affected by this matter ever since it started. It had already been a year, but from the expressions he saw on many in Excellent Era when he mentioned anything regarding Yi Chu, the topic seemed to be extremely taboo. It seemed like this matter had cast a shadow in Excellent Era's heart. Yi Chu all alone started from zero. But unexpectedly, it was Excellent Era that was pressured with the mental burden. Xiao Shiken was beginning to suspect that Excellent Era miraculously getting demoted last season might have been because of this mental burden. Now that Yi Chu had directly become their opponents in the Challenger League, this mental burden seemed to have grown even heavier. In Xiao Shiken's eyes, Kui Li convening this type of meeting was an unwise decision. The team urgently needed to be rid of Yi Chu's shadow, but you just have to feel the need to bring the issue of Yi Chu to the table? Aren't you just making the problem worse? This cannot continue. Xiao Shiken thought to himself. Just when he was about to say something, who would have thought that Su Mucheng would speak first? Manager Kui Li, aren't you overthinking things? Su Mucheng said. Kui Li was still feeling conflicted over Su Mucheng. He didn't expect Su Mucheng to speak up. Su Mucheng had always been too lazy to bother with them. I actually feel sorry for you. Su Mucheng continued, you've worked together with him on so many things, yet you don't understand him at all. He's a pro player and he's very professional. He has dedicated everything to glory, to competing. Did you think that because you've treated him like this, he's set on getting revenge? You're wrong. He's coming back because this is where glory lies. He's in conflict with you because he's disappointed that you guys fell so far as to drop to the Challenger League. Him treating you as an enemy has nothing to do with you guys being excellent era, nor does it have anything to do with you guys forcing him into retirement. It's simply because that's the nature of competition. That's why, Kui Lee, you don't need to worry. He won't take advantage of announcing his return to say anything bad about excellent era because in his eyes, you guys are simply a competitor inherently no different from those player teams that he's beaten along the way. The only difference is that you guys are a strong team, so he'll be even more serious and put in even more effort to face you guys. So Manager Kui Lee, if you don't want to lose, then hurry up and focus on practicing. This meeting is just a waste of time. It's completely unnecessary, so I'll be going now. Su Mucheng got up and left the conference room. The room was completely silent. Just when everyone was wondering how long this silence would last, someone finally broke it. Someone stood up. I'll be going to practice. Chu Fei. This rookie had only just been promoted from the training camp this season. To think he dared to speak out against the club's manager, I'll be going to practice, by saying that, it meant he agreed with Su Mucheng. Ignoring everyone else's gaze towards him, Chu Fei left the conference room. The remaining people looked at one another, occasionally sneaking a glance at Kui Lee. This time, their captain Sun Xiang spoke up, haha, that child. He's really got a personality. How interesting. F***ck, everyone slapped their forehead. Bro, I think you're misreading the issue here. It wasn't Xiao Shikin's first time witnessing Sun Zhang's stupidity. He didn't bother commenting on it. From the looks of it, this meeting wouldn't be able to continue on like before, so Xiao Shikin might as well just speak to Kui Lee. Manager Kui, how about we take a break? Okay. Then, everyone can go back. Kui Lee used this as a pretense. All of the players left one by one. Kui Lee walked out last gloomily, but discovered that Xiao Shikin had intentionally lagged behind. He immediately understood that this god wanted to speak with him. Manager Kui, I have some thoughts on this matter that I wish to speak to you about. Xiao Shikin saw that everyone had left and promptly began speaking. Vice Captain, please do, towards this god that they had went all out this season to invite. Kui Lee didn't dare to neglect him. It's like this, Xiao Shikin began speaking candidly about his thoughts on Excellent Era's current situation. Right now, Yi Chu is an opponent we need to face. We cannot let this burden continue pressing on us. In terms of strategy, we should look down on him. In terms of tactics, we should redouble our efforts. Xiao Shikin discussed what he thought would be the correct approach. Kui Lee listened to Xiao Shikin's plan and felt very moved. The cost of the transfer for him in the summer was completely worth it. The two who had been traded away, Lu Hao and He Ming, would never have been as calm as Xiao Shikin, especially that Lu Hao. He would have probably been thinking up all sorts of schemes to fight against Yi Chu. But then again, Xiao Shikin was more of a spectator who could see a more clear picture with wider parameters. An outsider like him would be the only one who would be neutral towards Yi Chu. Fortunately, this outsider had woken him up at a crucial moment. Kui Lee had also become aware that his worries about Yi Chu had already intangibly increased the burden on their shoulders. They needed to give up on this attitude and treat Yi Chu as just another opponent like those player teams they defeated before. That sounds familiar? Kui Lee thought about it and suddenly recalled what Su Mucheng had talked about a few minutes ago. He suddenly went into a daze. Manager Kui, what do you think? Xiao Shikin saw that Kui Lee was lost in a daze and hadn't spoken in a long time, so he asked this question. You're right. We should rid ourselves of these chains. Kui Lee nodded his head. He had made his decision. In the future, he needed to communicate more with this vice captain. As for Chen Yahui, he needed to call him over and remind him.